Morning, guys. It's KB5MIQ, big boy. Got a few things we're going to talk about today. But first, I want to show you something. Got a new sticker for the channel. Just had these made. I'm going to tell you the young lady who made them for me. She made me something else pretty cool. I don't know what you call this. I call it my light thingy, but kind of like a little holograph of my original sticker. She made that for me. I've been buying stickers from this young lady for a little over a year now. I mean, yeah, stickers. This is cool. I think it's just neat as all get out. Different colors. And there we go. Tiffany, thank you. I'm going to put a link to her Etsy store in the description of this video. If you need stickers for any reason, you're a YouTuber or whatever, or for anything, just check her out. She's got other products she makes. She's running a little small business on her own and doing good with it. Tiffany, thank you. I appreciate your support and enjoy doing business with you. But I'll have a link to her business in the description of this video. Guys, my buddy Jeff has been helping me with this channel as probably as much as anybody or more. In fact, he's the one who urged me to start doing this channel. And he's been sending me some tips, ideas. He's like me. He likes to promote the hobby. And we've both had the sad ham treatment in our career. So he sent me some things he thought about as tips, maybe to attract people in the hobby or tips you can tell a new ham about. Now, let me tell you, before I go into this, if you're an old guy and you have a problem with these modern modes we've got now, just keep it to yourself. We're trying to get people in this hobby. We're trying to get people to stay in this hobby. So, and this is what it's going to take. You can't attract people into this hobby if they think it's a bunch of old men in the bowel movement net talking about their bodily functions every night and complaining about the world. That ain't going to work. So here's some tips if you're talking to a prospective ham or a new guy, to make sure they understand what all they got options for. You know, you got VHF, UHF, FM repeaters. Access them with a talkie. Get on there, talk to people, and and meet other hams. It's a good thing to do. Echo link. Before you say that's not real radio, it's a mode that we have available. You use it with a smartphone. You don't have to have a radio. Goes through local repeaters. And Echo Link will actually let you work the world. And that might get these guys interested enough to go ahead and set a station up. If they can see that they can talk to contacts across in Europe or wherever with Echo Link. I did a video on Echo Link a couple of years ago, and I talked to a station in Australia while I was doing the video. So Echo Link's a good option for new hams. FT8. Lord, I know I'm hitting a problem here with like doing grounding and lightning protection. FT8's a mode we've got available. It's attractive to a lot of people that like computers, and they may not want to talk to people. Get you a ham radio. You got to have a ham radio license. Use the free WSJTX software. It's a good mode. I do it. I don't want to replace single sideband phone with it, but I do enjoy it. And I've got several countries that I've never heard on radio. So it's a good option we've got, and it's a good option maybe to keep people interested in the hobby. APRS. I don't have a radio set up for APRS yet, but Kent, K1ENT, went to Utah with his APRS on, and I was able to track his whole trip up there until he got back into this part of Texas where there wasn't that many digipeters up. I kind of called it ham radio big brother, but good option. You got GPS locator, short message capability, good for hiking, things like that. Satellites. When I first got into this hobby, the satellite options was you had to have two You either have a dual band all mode or two all mode VHF, UHF radios. I've seen them both set up. You had to have separate antennas with an azimuth and an elevation rotor. Now you can do satellites with a handheld and a handheld Yagi. Check out Digital Rancher. He does a lot of that at his YouTube channel. Robert, check it out. Last but not least, POTA. I get so aggravated when I hear of people QRM at a POTA station just because they don't like them doing POTA, or heaven forbid somebody start a POTA station where there's a net supposed to be. Y'all need to understand something. Having a net doesn't give you the right to that frequency. If somebody's there first, you need to move. If they don't want to move, it's your responsibility to move. You can't make anybody give a frequency up. Our Hammerheads group, we started meeting on 450, but if the band's open, there is a net that comes in every once in a while. We didn't want interference, so we willingly moved. But a lot of people don't think they have to move because they've got a net. Having a net does not give you the right. You don't own the frequency. So if a POTA station's there, you need to have some plans in place for your net to move where people know where you're at. So, Jeff, thank you. I got some more stuff coming up. I'll add a few more of these tips on each video, but those are all good ways to get people interested into this hobby and maybe keep them in the hobby. And that's ultimately what we need to be trying to do. Now, I'm going to talk to y'all again from the cheap ham old guy standpoint, and this applies to me and my buddy Jeff, because we started in this hobby. We both was only ones working in the family, had our family, small kids, so we didn't have a lot of money to spend on this hobby. Nowadays, you guys got access to a lot of different pieces of test equipment that's getting fairly inexpensive to get. Nano VNA is one of them. I've got a VNA. It's all right. I don't do everything with it that it's capable of doing, but it's a good option to check SWR with. Antenna analyzers. Jeff's got one now, and they're good options. I know he's got an MFJ. I think Vern 6 has got a rig experts. I don't know who else got them. I've never owned one because I'm too tight to turn loose the money for one. Well, let's get back to what back in the 90s when I got into this hobby. But one item that I have used over and over again in this hobby, a multimeter. Now let's talk multimeters for a minute. This is an analog multimeter. Simpsons used to be the gold standard. This is not a Simpson, this is a Micron. They used to be the gold standard analog multimeters, and these work great. One thing though, they need to be used sitting on a bench. They're not meant to be held at different angles and using them. And I say that because when I got into doing electrical work, I actually had 3 service calls where the customer was having problems with his electricity coming into the house, and it was always a bad neutral on the power company's part. And if you check voltage like that and you're going to call the power company, the first thing they're going to ask you, or they used to back in the 90s, because I've been asked is, did you check it with a digital meter? And if you tell them you checked it with one of these, they're not going to come out and talk to you about it, because when you're holding it like this and that, checking voltage, it's the meter is not going to be as accurate. So, but they're great. They're great. I've used them to check capacitors with. This used to be the way we had to check capacitors. I think now you can get some higher dollar digitals that you can actually check capacitors with. But those were great. I've had one a long time. That one's not working anymore, but they're still good to have around if you need one for certain things. Let's talk digitals. Digitals are as much as you want to spend on them. This is a 30-year-old Micrata that I bought when I first started doing electric work. Digital multimeter. Now, what can I use this for in ham radio? 2 main things. One, voltage checks. Say, I had an instance come up when I got back in the hobby in 06. I was talking on my 2 meter and the lights kept flickering. I had an old Astron power supply that I bought used back in 91. I don't know how old it was when I bought it. I hooked my multimeter to the power supply using some alligator clips. Turned it on, it's sitting there at 13 volts, 13.8 volts with no load. I keyed the mic, immediately the power started dropping. So that it told me I had a problem with my power supply. Easy to use. What else can you do with them? When Jeff and I were building antennas, this was all we had. Or putting coax connectors on, soldered on PL259s. Multimeter and a very simple understanding of Ohm's law will carry you more in this hobby than about anything will. You want to check a connection, coax, to make sure the ground and the center conductor are not shorted together. Easiest way to do digital multimeter setup for ohms. That's all it takes, continuity. Now I could show you on this, but the camera don't pick its display up good. They're easy to learn how to use. I've used this one a bunch. From when I was doing electric work, service call work, to using it for ham radio. This is all I had. Now you're thinking, well, how did you check SWR? Well, HF rigs has usually got an SWR meter function on them where you can switch your readout on your meter to show SWR. Jeff and I actually, one of us come up with a inexpensive MFJ 2 meter SWR meter that we'd swap back and forth. So you can do this hobby without having to invest in a lot of major equipment. I'm not telling you not to buy it. It's great shack enhancements as you get into this. But I see a lot of guys talking about, how much it costs to get in this hobby. And then you'll get these guys that come out of the woodwork and give them these astronomical prices and tell them, you've got to have all of this to do this. You don't have to. Radio, coax, antenna, power supply, or power source. It could be a battery, anything. But that's the basics what you got to have. These multimeters, you can pick up a multimeter anywhere from $10 at Harbor Freight to buy a fluke and spend several hundred on them. You don't have to buy that expensive a multimeter. Digitals are always considered accurate, even if it's an inexpensive digital. So think about that, and that'll get you started in this hobby. Now, you can buy a coax already with the ends on it. You still need to check it. I've had problems with, I always like making my jumpers up from like the radio to my pass-through. But when I realized Amphenol connectors were high, I started buying some jumpers made up. Now, I bought Cable Expert jumpers, which are high, and I've never had any problem with them. But I bought some generic jumpers that after a while, they would work loose and you'd wiggle them a certain way and you get a short in them. So it's always good that when you troubleshoot to have a digital multimeter ready to check for continuity or direct shorts. And that's an easy fix when you come to troubleshoot something. Like I said in my last video, you want to start at the beginning and work your way out. And that way, everything behind you, is working. Digital multimeter, inexpensive one, is a great tool to have in your shack. Not telling you not to buy any of the other stuff, but you can buy that as you get into this hobby. You don't have to buy it all up front. And that's what I try to promote with this channel, is helping you new guys get some advice to get you into the hobby. Because you can go down this rabbit hole of buying gear really quick and you'll end up with a lot of stuff. This shack's bigger than I ever envisioned it to be, and I still don't have a lot of money tied up in it because I just don't spend that much money on ham radio. But there's basic things you do need in this hobby, and I highly recommend a digital multimeter. Well, guys, that's about all I can think of for today. A door planner is Tiffany's Etsy business. I'm going to put a link to it in the description of the video. Also, links to Broken Circuit Ranch and Circle 6 Mail Drop will be in the description of the video. MRG Labs, Dan Major's radio and amp repair over in Farmersville. His information's the first slide you'll see at the end of this video. MTC is going through a bunch of end of year stuff. You need to follow them because you'll find out they're going to be closed in December. So anything you're wanting to buy now is probably a good time to be checking into it. Guys, appreciate everybody subscribed to the channel. We're at like 2,032 to 34, depending on what time I look at Google. And it's going up from there. All right, Lord, I just lost my train of thought. Old ham radio cats running around here in the house somewhere. Y'all have a great weekend. This is KB5 MIQ Big Boy 73.